Just keep going. At the edge of a crowded city, in a tiny rented room, lived a boy named Ryan. He wasn't the fastest, the smartest, or the most confident, but there was one thing about him that stood out. He never stopped. His life wasn't Instagram-worthy, no fancy gadgets, no dream vacations, no motivational posters on the walls, just a calendar with red marks on days he wanted to quit, and never did. The beginning Rayon came from a family that had always struggled to survive. His father was a factory worker, often out of work. His mother stitched clothes for neighbors, barely earning enough to keep the lights on. Rayon didn't grow up with bedtime stories or bike rides. He grew up with bills, sacrifices, and silence. But somehow, that silence taught him something powerful. The world doesn't wait for you to be ready. You just have to keep going. Dreams without a map. He didn't know what he wanted to become. He just knew what he didn't want. To live a life where his worth was measured by what he didn't have. So, every morning, before school, he delivered newspapers. After school, he swept floors in a shop. At night, he studied under a streetlight when the power went out. Nobody clapped for him, nobody cheered him on, but he whispered to himself, just keep going. When quitting looked easy, Rayon failed his first college entrance exam. He watched his classmates celebrate, post photos, laugh in groups. He had failed alone. The voices in his head were louder than ever. You're not good enough. Maybe this life isn't meant for you. Why are you still trying? He sat on a park bench late at night, holding his result sheet, tears in his eyes. Then an old man passed by and said quietly, don't stop. If you stop now, all the pain you've been through becomes useless. Just keep going. You don't need to be the best, you just need to last longer than your doubts. Those words hit him like fire. The unseen climbed, so Rayon tried again. He worked harder. He started saying no to distractions. No to the friends who never believed in him. No to the parties. No to the excuses. He still wasn't the best, but now he was unbreakable. While others slept in, he trained. While others failed, he adjusted. While others waited for motivation, he moved with purpose. He wasn't moving fast, but he was still moving. The payoff. Years later, Rayon walked onto a stage in front of thousands. He wasn't a celebrity, he wasn't rich, but he was invited to speak to students who felt just like he once did. Lost and invisible, he took a deep breath and said, I didn't get here because I was gifted. I got here because I refused to stop. There were days I wanted to quit, days I cried myself to sleep, days I thought, what's the point? But I kept walking. Not because I knew the destination, but because I knew what would happen if I stayed stuck. So if you're tired, if you're failing, if you're thinking of quitting, just remember you don't have to win today. You just have to keep going.